Hey everybody, Kevin here, and today we're going to answer a very simple question: what is van life? Because it doesn't have a simple answer. So let's get to it. So what is van life? In its simplest terms, van life means living in your van. Now, there are so many people doing so many different things. This is why you cannot have a set definition for this. Right? You have people that are full-time. You have people that are part-time. You have people that are doing this on the weekend. In a lot of forums and videos and different things, you have this weird vibe going on among these people that their way is the right way, and if you're not doing it their way, that you're somehow doing it wrong, or you're not really doing van life, or you're not really a van person. We're all different, and we're all doing things in a different way, and we all have different goals and dreams and things that we are trying to reach in life. That's why there isn't a simple answer. To the people that are on the road full time and they're trying to do this 365 days a year, I think that's great. As a matter of fact, my trips have become longer and longer and longer, and I am working towards possibly doing that also. But as you get older, you have a lot of obligations and a lot of responsibilities, and while I see these people in groups and things go, just sell your house and, quit your job and hit the road. Well, it's not quite that simple. When you have families and you have those obligations and you have businesses and you have homes and it's not that simple of a decision. So as for me, I'm part-time at this point. I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy that I've gotten myself to a point where I can take off for a month or longer at a time and go on a trip and go explore and go live out in nature and not have to deal with hotel rooms every night. So my definition of van life is this. It's going out and using a van to accomplish what you want to accomplish. There is no wrong answer, as long as it works for you. And hopefully from this channel, you'll pick up different tips, whether you're on the road right now or whether you're thinking about doing this someday, that you will be able to use to help you on your travels and your adventures. Because van life covers a broad spectrum. First off, you have people doing this in rural areas, and then you have people trying to do this in cities, doing the urban stealth camping, and maybe they're working a real job during the day, and then they're having to deal with finding places to take showers and find different places to sleep from night to night around the city, so they're not run off and harassed by the police and by the locals. That's awful stressful to me, and not something I'm looking to ever do. But I do understand why some people do that. Sometimes they do it because they're in a situation where they just don't have a choice. Sometimes they're doing it because they're living in expensive U.S. cities and they're just tired of chucking $2,000 or better into rent. That's one of the reasons that people get into van life. For us more rural people, we tend to be doing this because we want to go out and explore and we want to deal with whatever our hobbies are. Maybe you just like to fish and camp. Maybe you're like me and you like to bike ride. Maybe you're like me and you just like to see places that you have never seen. Some people don't like to travel. I like to travel. I like to meet new people. I like to meet new people in new areas that have experiences that I don't have. Didn't grow up the way that I necessarily grew up. That to me is very interesting. I know my story. Other people's stories is much more interesting to me. So I grew up in the East. I basically grew up in mountains. So If you grew up like I did, the deserts and canyons and all these things, I mean, it's like, for us, it's like looking at Mars. And we just don't have that and didn't experience that. And most people where I grew up never will. And I didn't until I was way into adulthood. Some people don't like that. I do. I love that area of the country because it is so different. But if you were a little kid that grew up like I did in, east of the Mississippi, you pretty much, growing up, you flipped on the television or you went to the movies, and they were set in one of two places. Either they were set in New York City or they were set in Southern California, where it was all beaches and babes and bikinis and sunshine and 300 days a year of no rain and just what was supposed to be paradise. Maybe Southern California is paradise. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you. But there are all these places in between, whether it's the Deep South and the Gulf Coast and Colorado and getting into the Pacific Northwest, all these things that we really didn't get a lot of. And if we did get a lot of, and it was the setting for a TV show or a movie, very little of it was probably filmed in those areas anyway. So we never really got to see those things. But for some reason, as a little kid, I just would sit there and I would think, when I did see interesting things, I would think, I'm going to go there someday. I'm going to do that someday. I had no idea how I was going to do that, but that was basically a goal that was just burned into my brain for some reason. I would see something on Las Vegas and I think, I'm going to do that someday. I would see something on Route 66 and go, I'm going to do that someday. Well, my someday has come, and I put off my someday for way too many years. Now, again, I'm not in a point in my life where I can just tomorrow walk away from everything and do this full time. Although I am working towards being able to have that as an option. And when that time comes, then I will decide if that is the way I want to go or not. And I'm not the least bit afraid of that, because to me, life is about phases. I'm not the same being 50-ish as I was at 40 or 30, and certainly not at 20. I see things different. That is a natural progression that we all have through life. So that's what van life is to me. Your definition may be slightly different. Your definition may be way different. And if so, that's okay. Yes, it's partially a lifestyle if you want to go there with that, to be able to live and survive in a small space for long periods of time. See, it's just a vehicle. And by vehicle, I don't mean the van itself. I mean using that van as a vehicle to do what you want to be able to do. Maybe you want to go around in your region and go to things that have to do with sewing. Maybe you want to go out and be able to camp and rock climb or ride bikes like I do, or go around. Maybe you're into model railroads and you can go to different parts of the country and see what different people are doing as far as model railroads or car museums or whatever it happens to be that interests you and whatever your passion happens to be. You can use van life as the vehicle to see more of that and do more of that and enjoy more of that. So I'm not caught up in the vehicle itself. It just allows me to do what I want to do. It allows me to have the time, because I can do it cheaper. I can stay out on the road for longer periods of time, much longer periods of time. I have gotten myself now to the point to where I can go out for a month, month and a half, 2 months at a time. Most of my friends aren't able to do that. because they have a real job with real commitments and real things, and they have a week or two tops that they have vacation time that they can go and do something. And that may be your situation. That used to be my situation. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can still use van life as your vehicle during the time you have to get out and explore and do what makes you happy, if that's what makes you happy. So let me know down in the comment section whether you agree or disagree with my definition of van life, and let me know what your definition of van life is, not what someone else tells you that the definition of van life for you should be. The simple fact is, I don't know everything, but I've learned a lot in the last few years that I have been out doing this and doing this more and more and more. So I enjoy sharing what I've learned, and I enjoy learning from the experiences of others that I meet out on the road or that offer suggestions and stories and responses to these videos. Because we all learn from each other and we all learn together, and if we do that, we can all forward our own dreams. If you're wondering what to watch next, if you go down in the comments or the description for this video, you'll see links to other recent videos we've done coming up on this channel. I have a couple of days here where the van is having different things done to it, so I have a little bit of downtime. Lots and lots of stuff coming up on this channel, a lot of how-to videos, a lot of comparison videos, a lot of different things that have to do with van life and traveling and saving money. And I have a video coming up. I know that was a suggestion from one of you viewers that was about exactly what clothes I take with me on trips and how I pack and what I deal with and what I don't, just as far as clothing. Really great subject, so we're going to get into that with the video. So there's lots of good things coming, and we'll see you soon.